Disney fans love to connect the two latest Pixar movies featuring teenage girls as their protagonists.
Ugh, what a diva!
Inside Out and Turning Red.
Show me where we're going. Okay.
But is there really any chance that Riley and Mei Lee exist in the same universe? And more, is there any evidence that they knew each other and were friends in the past? We investigated everything about this intriguing possibility, and we will tell you everything we discovered now. The first thing we need to talk about regarding this possible friendship between the two characters is the fact that it is more than proven that there is indeed a shared Pixar universe, or as I like to call it, the Pixar Verse. This becomes very clear when we watch Finding Dory, and look who's in the background at the aquarium, Riley herself! And not just her, but her classmates too, indicating that her entire school class was on a field trip to that aquarium where Dory was looking for her parents. According to our calculations, the distance between the protagonist's school in Inside Out and the city where the aquarium with the forgetful fish is located is approximately 233 miles, meaning it's a round trip that can be done in a single day. In Mei Lee's case, so far we haven't seen the character appear in any other movie, but we saw the same bird that's in the Toronto arena where the Four-Town concert takes place also appear in the short film of Dougie, Carl's dog from Up. These two facts already show us that yes, Mei Lee and Riley live in the Pixar Verse. However, there is still another very strong piece of evidence that demonstrates that the girls live in the same universe and are the same age, which is called Four-Town is undoubtedly the biggest proof we can find that Riley and Mei Lee live in identical timelines. That's because, as we saw in Inside Out 2, not only does the film's protagonist know the band, but she is also a fan and even has a poster of the group on her bedroom wall. And in addition to that, we also see that she loves listening to their songs, as well as singing along to their songs with her friends. This is the same musical expression of excitement that Mei Lee uses when, still transformed into Red Panda, she screams upon seeing Devin, her crush who works at the convenience store. And just as Riley and her friends are fans of the boy band, the Red Panda and her friends also know all the group's lyrics and songs. Furthermore, the fact that both girls are fans of the same band also proves another fact. The two protagonists live in the same historical moment. This is quite easy to prove, mainly because boy bands like Four-Town are not groups that last very long. After all, their main attraction is their cute members with beautiful voices who end up growing up and are no longer teenagers. So usually, after a short time, they end up breaking up. So the fact that the group exists and is a success in both movies proves that the two stories take place at the same time, which proves that just as Mei Lee is 13 years old, Riley is also, meaning they will probably graduate in the same school year. Now tell me, wouldn't it be amazing to see the two girls being real friends? If you agree, comment below, #friends.
I love it!
All Pixar fans know that the two girls live in different locations, with Mei Lee and her family living in Toronto, Canada, and Riley and her parents in San Francisco, California. The distance between the two cities is 2,250 miles, which is definitely quite a bit. However, the same cannot be said about the distance between the city Riley lived in, Minnesota, and Toronto, where we discovered that the distance is only 1/3 of that total. That means they are much closer. Furthermore, when Riley is training at the hockey camp in the Firehawks gymnasium, we can see the flags of the USA and Canada side by side in the background. In hockey, this is quite common, as teams from both countries are part of the same league and compete against each other throughout the season. This means it is quite possible for teams from Toronto and San Francisco to face each other in an inter-school competition at some point, which would significantly increase the chances of the two girls really meeting, even if Mei Lee doesn't play hockey, at least as far as we know. Because if she were a goalie in a Red Panda version, it would certainly be very difficult to score against her. So we can certainly say that it is not impossible for the two girls to meet and even have already met in some sports competition.
Coincidence? I think not!
And it is precisely this point that supports the possibility of having seen Riley in the school quarters of Mei Lee in a quick scene in the Red Panda movie. This happens at the moment when the protagonist of Turning Red turns into a giant animal in the middle of the classroom and runs out before anyone notices. She spots the bathroom and runs toward it so quickly that when she passes by two people near the bathroom door, they spin and fall to the ground. And when they fall, note that the girl with short blonde hair looks almost exactly like Riley. And it was precisely this scene that made many Inside Out fans start speculating about the possibility that it wasn't just a girl who looked a lot like Riley, but the actual Inside Out protagonist, who was at the school for a friendly hockey match with Mei Lee's school team. But so far, Pixar has not confirmed if this would indeed be the first meeting between the two teenagers who star in their own films. When we meet Riley in the 2015 film, she was only 11 years old and was just entering the most important stages of adolescence. Mei Lee, on the other hand, is already 13 and, according to herself, is considered an adult, at least by the Toronto Transit Commission. Similarly, when Inside Out 2 begins, we can see that the film's protagonist had also just turned 13 years old. And if we stop to analyze, the two girls go through almost identical situations in terms of personal development, but in different ways. That's because Mei Lee's transformation into a red panda is a hereditary inheritance passed down through her family's bloodline that manifests when the girls in the family reach the age to enter puberty and truly become women. Regarding Riley, we all know that everything that happens in the second film happened because of that puberty button that started buzzing in the middle of the night and almost turned the girl's life upside down. It was precisely puberty that caused the new emotions to appear in the girl's mind control center. In any case, we can say that in both films, the two protagonists go through very similar situations, and puberty is the starting point for everything that happens, both good and bad, in their stories. I don't know about you, but I love watching these stories. If you are also a part of this tribe of animated movies and series fans, subscribe to the channel now. We have new videos every day. Another thing that we can notice that both films and the lives of Riley and Mei Lee have in common is how incredibly important friendships are for the protagonists. We see that Mei Lee's group of friends is essential for her to calm down and control her emotions, and consequently, her transformations. In Riley's case, we can understand that her thoughts related to Bree and Grace were crucial factors in helping her make decisions that shape the direction of her life at such an important moment. For this reason, we can say that the friendship factor in both films is something that can make a total difference in the story. So, a friendship between Mei Lee and Riley would be something that could help the Inside Out protagonist control her emotions in a more balanced way, just as it would help the red protagonist have greater control over her transformation and reversion into the giant red panda. And honestly, it's quite a coincidence that the two protagonists of the two most successful Disney Pixar teenage films of recent years have so much in common and might have already bumped into each other in the school corridors, don't you think? After all, as we all know, Pixar doesn't do anything by chance. There's always a small reason behind it. Moreover, if you stop to analyze, you'll notice that there's another point in common between the girls that's related to a crush. By analyzing the boys the girls are interested in, we can say that Mei Lee and Riley really have much more in common than it seems, which makes a future friendship between the two even more likely. When we see the crush mountain inside Riley's mind, we see two familiar figures on it. The first one at the beginning is Jordan, the boy Riley meets at the end of Inside Out and who freaks out when she returns his water bottle. And on the other end is Lance Slashblade, who isn't even a real boy, but a playable character in a fighting game, but Riley still thinks he's hot and has a crush on him. However, in the middle, there are two boys we haven't met yet, or maybe we have. That's because they look a lot like two members of Four Town who appear several times in Turning Red, which makes perfect sense, since both girls are huge fans of the band, meaning they would basically have the same crush, considering Mei Lee has a crush on practically all the boy band members. Moreover, if you think about it, you'll realize that the type of boys both girls are interested in is very similar. Because besides the Four Town members, Mei Lee has a huge crush on Devin from the convenience store, who looks like an older version of Jordan. When we stop to analyze, they are both very laid-back guys who always have their heads in the clouds. So, without a doubt, we can say that they like very much the same type of guy, which would certainly make them get along much better and become much closer friends. After all, they would understand each other perfectly. In other words, we can say that a friendship between Mei Lee and Riley is just a matter of time, because they will surely be great friends in the future. We're wrapping up here, but if you still want to keep watching great videos, just choose one of these on the screen and click on it. You'll definitely enjoy the next video. Thanks!